Hi, welcome to my classroom. My name is Annette Simpson. I teach at McCluskey Middle School in Marietta, Georgia. This is my second year as a 7th grade life science teacher after 12 years in elementary school, teaching gifted students 1st through 5th grade. I have 105 students this year. 40% of them are in my 2 on-level classes, and 60% of my students are in my 2 advanced content classes. Approximately 5% of my students have IEPs, and overall our school has about 40% free and reduced lunch population. So the peek you're going to see into my classroom is where we just finished completing a study of genetics, and now we are going to start turning our focus to evolution and natural selection. The lab you will see took place over a 3-day period. And my students explored how the environment affects the phenotype of skin color, specifically through their alleles. And the alleles represented were green, yellow, and red. Green was dominant, yellow and red were equally recessive. They kind of shared a incomplete dominance, if it were, of their recessiveness. So combined, they would create an orange fish. And in this simulation, we used different colored toothpicks. Green, red, and yellow toothpicks were the model, and they represented those alleles. Students were also given a description of their fish habitat, and some had predators and some did not, but other conditions that had random selective factors, and those occurred by a roll of a dice. Students randomly chose generation of fish and applied the environmental factors in their stream, and they repeated this process until they had 5 generations of fish. Afterwards, they created a stream which represented the different environments. Here's just a random sample of some of their work. Students were quick to analyze their own streams. However, the goal was to take a look at a larger sample size. So we set up a gallery walk of all the streams, and before they were allowed to go look at everybody else's work, I challenged them to create a tool to use to collect and organize their data. Well, this proved pretty difficult for some of the students, while others found it very natural and easy to create a chart with all the different types of data that they would see. And that's pretty much what you're going to be seeing in the video today, is think through the process of how they're going to collect their data. And then afterwards, looking for the cross-cutting concepts of patterns, finding cause and effect relationships, and the changes that occurred within their system model. My scientists also used all of the NGSS practices of asking questions, using models, carrying out investigations, analyzing and interpreting their data, using mathematical thinking, constructing scientific explanations, and engaging in argument from evidence. They obtained, evaluated, and communicated their information as well. The disciplinary core ideas explored in this lesson are LS4-4, biological evolution, unity and diversity, how genetic variations of traits in a population increase, and how individuals' probability of surviving and reproducing in a specific environment, as well as LS4-B, natural selection leads to the predominance of certain traits in a population and the suppression of others. Of course, lab safety was discussed and utilized throughout the investigation. I hope you enjoy this peek into my classroom. Okay, so today we are going to be investigating the effect that genetics and the environment have together, and how environmental factors can affect the ability of a phenotype to continue on in a generation of fish. And in this lab, we've got to, as always, consider safety. What are some safety considerations for this?
No food or drink.
Okay, I think we're good. What else?
Don't poke each other.
Yes, let's use the materials appropriately. Do not poke each other with the toothpicks. That would be dangerous. Yes.
Don't poke yourself in the eye.
Very good. Don't poke yourself with the toothpick.
In the Do not try to eat the toothpick.
Do not use the toothpick. Put it in your mouth. No, we're not going to do that today. So, okay. So,
Today.
or ever in the lab. Never in our lab. Okay. Here's the procedure. Kiddos, you're going to be taking the different colors of toothpicks and they're going to represent different alleles. So the green is going to be your dominant allele. Yellow will be a recessive allele. Red will also be a recessive allele. But the interesting thing here is that the red and the yellow are equally recessive. So there's like an incompleteness,
It's like an incomplete recessive.
recessiveness, even though we call it incomplete dominance. So when you get a red and a yellow toothpick together, it's going to make an orange.
Goldfish.
An orange phenotype, like a goldfish. Exactly. All right, and so then what you're going to do is you have a stream with different environmental factors in it. Each of you has a different stream represented by the number on your bag. You have a strip of paper which explains your stream. And so you need to follow whatever is in your stream to be able to influence your different phenotypes. Okay, and so what that means is once you have pulled your generation of fish randomly, so don't do it on purpose, you write out the genotypes, you write out the phenotypes, then follow whatever, if there's a predator at your stream and your predator likes to eat certain fish because they see them better, right, you pull those out. And then those fish are they're not in the gene pool anymore, they're dead.
They're dead.
Okay, so put them off to the side and then you don't return them back into your bag to pull for the next generation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Go ahead and start and be sure you record your data.
Alright. This stream is very green and lush with lots of vegetation and algae covering the stream bed and banks. The green fish are very well camouflaged in this environment. However, there are no predators in this stream. Roll your dice. Oh, found the dice. Where are our fish? Wait, oh yeah, they're in the bag. Right.
Okay, here's stream
Okay.
2.
Roll your, here, put it in the bag so that it's like, we don't have to close our eyes into, or whatever.
Colors of
Roll your
fish
dice
are very
twice and remove the
visible, however, there are
toothpick.
no predators in this
Fish
stream.
with the
Roll your
number.
dice
So,
twice and remove the toothpick with
So we roll this and then we roll
They will no longer be used in this lab.
And when you roll the dice, since your stream doesn't have any actual predators, what could the roll of the dice represent out in the environment?
Plague.
Okay, a plague?
A plague.
Fish plague? What's a fish plague?
Drought.
They
Okay.
could just get sick.
So they might have gotten sick.
Overfishing.
Okay, there might have been some overfishing.
Pollution.
Pollution.
Famine.
Famine, so there might not be enough food for you. There might be poison food. When you are looking at the streams and looking for patterns, you're going to need to come up with a way to collect this data and to be able to organize the data you collect so that you can find those patterns. What things are you going to be looking for? What would be important to collect with consideration of our guiding question, which is how does the environment affect the survival of an allele, and a certain phenotype disappeared and came back? Why would it disappear and why would it come back?
Because of the migration.
Were we told anything about migration?
No.
You're not wrong, but we have to think about what we were given, the information we were given. What about the genes?
Like if like there's a GR or GY,
Mhm.
there's a chance that there could be a YY fish.
And what does that mean?
A yellow fish come back.
So, what does the GY represent?
Green, yellow.
Okay, and why? And what phenotype does that genotype make?
Green.
Why green?
Because green is dominant.
In that case, does the environment affect the survival of the phenotype?
For the case of green being it, it would really affect them
Why?
because green is dominant, so you would lose even the heterozygous ones, even though. So you'll lose all the greens. You'll lose all the greens, so you will never be able to have the green back. That's what happened to our streams. We've only ever had orange, yellow, and red. We've never had green again because green was just
Our
green
yellow
completely.
disappeared.
Okay, so those are the kinds of patterns and those are the observations you're going to need to make when you go back there and look at everybody's stream all together. So you're going to look at all the stream 1s together. You're going to look at all the stream 2s, all the stream 3s, all the stream 4s, and see if all of them have the same kind of patterns that you just said about your streams. Does that make sense? So now we got to figure out a way to put all the data onto one chart. So what are you thinking?
We're thinking which types of fish, which colors of fish survive better, like which which type of fish are there more of?
When you say type, when you say
Color.
okay,
Which color fish is more common, and did the population decrease or increase, or stay the same?
Green because we had a big overflux of green wheels.
okay, and how are you going to collect that data?
We're going to look at fish numbers, the census, and put down a whole graph.
It wouldn't be because there's other genes inside the identification that can come out and make enough.
All right, what are you ladies and gentlemen thinking of for your collection
Well,
of data?
Well, there was 10 fish over here, and then 4 over here, and through natural causes, 6 of them died since there were no predators. So, I think the yellowfish went extinct. So,
Okay, now you're thinking actually ahead to the conclusions. What we're getting ready to do is do a gallery walk of everybody else's streams. How are you going to collect the data? I mean, you did a great job of starting to draw conclusions from your own stream, but now everybody else's.
We're going to see if they had a decrease in green fish and yellowfish like we did, because we still have a good number of green, or not, orange and red, but the green fish did significantly drop, and then the yellow just like went bye-bye.
Okay, that sounds good. So make your plan as to how you will collect that data. Good. What are you ladies thinking about for your collection of data?
Well, I feel like for stream 2, there's gonna be like no fish, like green fish left, because all the predators are going and eating those. Even though they see the other ones, they for some reason like eating the green ones. As for like stream 4, there are not many predators there, so there's gonna be a more steady amount of fish there.
Okay.
It's gonna grow.
So you've just made a really good hypothesis as to what you think you're going to see. So what is your plan to collect that data?
I guess just like go around and look at different streams
Okay.
to see how many fish they have
Okay.
of each like color and stuff.
All right, I see you started your chart. Okay, good. So what's your plan here, ladies, for collecting your data?
Well, we made like a generation 1 and generation 2 chart.
Okay.
And we're going to put like just similarities and differences.
Okay.
How it changed through the 5 generations.
Have we collected data yet?
No, we have to collect the data and then analyze.
Okay, so we are at collection point. You and your partner talk through what kind of chart you can use to collect those 3 things that you just told me. Phenotype, the 2 different generations we're looking at, and the environment.
Your own chart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Make your own chart. Make it.
Can we do a TT chart?
A TT.
Whatever works for you and your partner is the type of chart I want you to come up with. Okay, so what are you guys thinking?
Thinking of something.
Something. All right. Where are you going to start?
I don't really know.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you a few minutes. I'll come back, okay?
I'm gonna put boxes like that.
Okay. And what are you going to put in your boxes?
One for the generation 1 phenotype, 2 for the generations 5 phenotype, the populations for both of them, and the changes.
Okay. When you say changes, do you mean changes in what?
And like their population and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And then their environment.
Okay.
So these 4.
And how are you going to what are you going to do to show the environment changes between the streams?
Between like all of the streams out there, well, I'm going to make another box for that.
Oh, you're not finished.
No.
Okay, awesome. So within this little chart, because I see 4, so this could be stream 1, stream 2, stream 3, 4, right? What would you put within this? What other information did you need to collect? You have generation 1, you have generation 5. Now you're going to have your different streams. What's left? What was that third thing?
The environment?
Well, is the stream the environment?
No.
It's not?
Wait, yes.
Sort of.
Kind of is, isn't it? So the stream itself is the environment, the habitat. So what's left that we need to collect, that we said?
Population.
Okay, what about the population?
How many like green fish?
So we need the phenotypes in there, don't we?
The square represents each stream, and the boxes represent each generation. So, and you would put the colors red, yellow, orange, and green to represent each color for each generation.
I'm kind of back with the generations. What I do.
Talk to me about what you have.
This was all fish in generation 1, and then either fish in generation 5.
For all the different streams? Yeah. And you just went through and you counted how many green were in generation 1 of all the stream ones.
Not all.
Is that what this says?
It's just for one of the streams.
So should you choose just one or should you choose all? Why would you just choose one? Would one stream give you more information about a change or all the different streams over there? Which one would give you more information? Taking a look at all of them together.
So their generation 1, our generation, and their generation. Every single generation they had 0 greens. Why did they place greens? Why did they place greens?
You can go back and ask them.
Should we write their greens down?
Well, you might want to alert everybody, so ask Kate and Kyle what happened.
Kate, Kyle, why did you put greens? Why'd you put greens down?
There's 0 for you recorded 0 greens.
There should be none.
Yeah, no greens exist. They die.
They all perish.
Yes. We live, but they die in that generation.
So you're not supposed to.
They all die off of that generation.
What happened? What caused them to die?
The predators ate them.
So there's
because
no
they
green
favorite the
in
green
stream
fish.
No.
Yellowfish went extinct.
Oh, I just really
Our yellowfish were extinct and then they came back.
How'd they come back?
Because the orange fish,
Because either orange and green.
the orange fish carried the yellow.
Orange and green were natural.
So, if they came back, were they truly extinct? Was that allele truly extinct?
The fish were not the elite.
Yeah.
But they were still
You can
gone.
call it temporarily. Temporarily extinct.
Well, okay, explain that.
The allele was just endangered.
Extinct, it's gone.
So you say that you think the allele was just in danger.
Yeah, the fish were gone, but the allele still survived, so there's always a possibility.
Wait a minute, the fish were gone.
Because there were no more yellowfish, but the allele was still there, so the possibility of there being another yellowfish.
And how was the allele still there?
Because there's the green and the yellow. The green fish, yeah, it showed that they were green, but it still carried the yellow allele, and same thing with the orange.
So why did the green... You're telling me that the fish's genotype was...
It could be GY.
Which is also known as...
heterozygous.
Okay, and so what does that tell me about the green and the yellow?
The green is dominant in the yellow.
Okay, and so, Cole, if the green is dominant to the yellow, is the yellow actually extinct? The yellow allele actually extinct?
No, it's just not showing.
Okay, so it's not being expressed, but it might show up later in... Gotcha.
Water tree, we have an underwater tree.
Green one has a very green stream.
I mean, because that's the only one that's really going to survive. Orange
The reason why there's so many green shit fish, the stream is very lush and melty. So there's a bunch of green fish in it. Hi.
What are your observations so far?
We're taking almost everything. We're taking watercolor, how many fish there are, what color the fish are, and the color of the bottom, mostly in the sides, watercolor and predators.
Because the plant would get too much water.
So I love your question, Kaden. If there's a tree in the water,
That's the point, though.
would you be able to breathe underwater?
No.
So you say no, and why?
Because even with like all of this, like no carbon
See that
dioxide,
Aaron's population decreased by
So why do you need carbon dioxide?
so the tree can actually like, because it turns the carbon dioxide into oxygen.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
Through what process?
Photosynthesis.
Okay. And what needs to be present for photosynthesis to occur?
Sunlight. And
Okay.
sunlight gets blurred if it's underwater.
Okay, so is that the biggest problem?
No.
What's the biggest problem for the tree, Kaden? Okay, so you think the carbon dioxide is the biggest problem.
No, and carbon dioxide. And there's like lots of water.
It would get
around
too
it.
much water.
What part of the tree is underwater?
Every part.
Well, the whole part.
All of it.
All of it?
Any life.
So, do you have some leaves underwater?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's leaves, the tree, the trunk, and the roots are all underwater.
Okay, so what part of the plant goes through photosynthesis?
None of it.
None of the plant, none of the tree or plant? What part of the plant?
It's the leaves.
Leaves, because they contain...
The roots get the water.
They contain...
Leaves get the carbon dioxide and
Well,
the sun.
how can they get carbon dioxide when they're underwater?
Could
Yeah,
there be
that-
carbon dioxide under the water?
No, there wouldn't be.
Really?
I think.
Well,
There might.
if there's...
Well, I guess we got some investigating to do.
I'm confused now.
Is there oxygen under the water?
Well, there's oxygen in the water.
Yeah.
So,
H2O.
oh,
fish to
but
live.
you're saying that the water itself is providing the oxygen.
But if you
But
rip
trees need
the
carbon.
oxygen from the hydrogen,
But is that how that happens? We talked about water earlier in the year. Does water break apart regularly, or is water water?
water is water and it can't break apart.
I mean, it can if we applied
A force.
yes. So routinely, does the water break apart in the stream? So that oxygen must come from somewhere. The sky. You know,
Yeah.
I am going to answer this question.
Isn't there like
Oxygen in the sky.
no that's ocean.
So no, I'm going to answer this question, Shelby. Some of the oxygen in the water does come from the sky. It just comes from the air, and it sort of diffuses. And whoa, Caden, come on back for a second. We're in the middle of something. And then and then it dissolves into the water. The oxygen does. It just
There's like hydrogen around.
no, it doesn't break apart. So another way that oxygen gets put into the water is when it gets churned up and maybe over rocks and riffles, and when it goes over rocks, it goes in bubbles under the water.
And the bubbles.
Bubbles have oxygen in them. But wait a minute, one more thing. So have you seen plants in the water that grow in the water? How can they grow in the water if there's no carbon dioxide in the water?
Well, if there's like someone swimming around, they breathe out, we breathe out.
Just humans?
No, there's other like.
But the bubbles.
So what animals?
Dolphin, whale, turned into the water.
Okay. What about what we're studying?
The plants evolved to not.
Okay, what do fish need? What?
They
What does that mean?
They get oxygen out of the water.
Okay, they get oxygen out of the water because they need to do what? They need to go through what process? Well, breathing. Okay, go back to our unit on the body.
I forgot.
Fish also go through that same process we do. Very good, thank you. And what's a byproduct of cellular respiration? Oh.
How would CO2 come out of the fish if they breathe oxygen? The gills.
How do they?
They breathe through their gills.
And then what comes out?
Well, I can't think today.
But their gills must be adapted to be able to collect the oxygen they need so that they can go through that cellular respiration. And the byproduct of cellular respiration
Carbon dioxide, and the plants get the carbon dioxide from the fish, which should allow them to grow.
through what process? And so that's okay.
Photosynthesis.
So now it's time for you to talk over with your partner and make some conclusions referencing back to our guiding question, which was,
How does the environment affect the survival, the chance of survival of an allele?
okay. And so remember, when you're thinking that at that level, does an allele always present itself in a phenotype?
Yes. No.
No, because the allele could be recessive, and then the dominant one could be taking over, so it won't show in the phenotype.
So yeah, that's why the areas that are more green and have more plants, the green fish survive better in that because they're camouflaged.
Yellowfish died because there wasn't any camouflage for them, so they were eaten by the
So like you show how these fish died and this one fish died because there's no predators. So there was no really predator to kill them. And again, no predator. And sort of. So it's just basically explaining their life.
Being negatively impacted by the environment, it can affect the survival of the recessive even more than the recessive allele can survive on its own, because the dominant allele can sometimes mask up the recessive allele, allowing it to survive longer. But if the dominant trait also dies off quickly, or can't survive in conditions of the environment, then the recessive allele also will suffer. So, and if you guys that sounds about right.
Wondering if two identical twins.
Wait, no, you have the same question. I know. All right, if like two identical twin girls and then two identical twin boys, and then they all get together,
And they have babies and that's...
Would they look the same?
What a great question.
I came up with that question, by
Yeah,
the way.
she did.
Fantastic. Have you had an opportunity to research that question?
Because she just thought of it.
Okay, write it down. Research it. That's a fantastic question. I'm so interested to find out the answer.
They all have the same genes, don't they? It would look the same.
You would think. I mean, identical twins. But I'd love to know if that's really happened and what the outcome was.
But they can also get recessive genes from the other generation.
Oh. So, Blake just said they might have, what if they had recessive genes?
But they would both have recessive genes.
They would, but think about our Punnett square possibilities and how gametes can have different alleles. And what if, just by nature's chance, one couple, their child inherited the, if you're talking about a heterozygous, if they're all heterozygous, then would they be exact identical cousins? And you can figure that out with a Punnett square. Try it. Try it.